I imagined flying far from shore, directly out over open waters to leave my past behind. I soared for miles, beating my wings against the harsh winds and the storms gathering in the distance. Nothing mattered in that little pocket of time but the open, endless sky and me. When I finally opened my eyes, the sun was higher, infusing the dark blue sky with golden colors. I found Neal standing beside me, not in a wetsuit but in running attire, watching me with eyebrows furrowed. I felt the smile tugging at my lips and didn't bother trying to contain it. "I thought you weren't coming."
"And miss seeing the first light of the day on your face?"
He studied me, hardly blinking. The corners of his mouth curled up as he shook his head.
"I wondered yesterday if you were some sort of siren," he confessed. "I mean, there I was, minding my own business, when this impossibly beautiful woman just showed up by the edge of the water. If you'd asked me to swim down to the bottom of the ocean with you, I probably wouldn't have been able to say no."
I laughed at the corny line and the realization that it was actually working on me. "You're cute, but I'm not of the sea." He nodded.
"I see that now. You're something else, a creature of the air."
I turned toward the ocean, slightly embarrassed that he'd seen me at a moment of pure honesty. Neal followed suit, not saying anything more. We remained like that, standing together in comfortable silence, for long minutes.
"What's on your mind?"
he asked after some time. "That sunrise is my favorite part of the day," I said, which was only partially true. "You?" He reached out, tangling his long, warm fingers through my own.
"I was thinking of doing that. And this," he said,
touching his lips to the back of my hand. My skin was tingling when he pulled away, the memory of the kiss still lingering. "That's all?" I asked, unable to help myself. I hadn't been entirely serious when I'd told Elsie about wanting a one-night stand, but now I was beginning to think the idea had real merit. Neal raised an intrigued eyebrow, making me wonder if he could read my thoughts.
"What else would you like? This?"
He lifted the sleeve of my sweatshirt and kissed the inside of my wrist, pausing a few seconds to feel my pulse against his lips. The thrill of desire tore up my arm and crashed into my racing heart. I wanted more, wanted him to rip off my shirt and kiss every inch of my skin, but was too hesitant to express it. Once upon a time, I'd been good at this, had been able to bring a man to his knees with just one look. But the years after my failed marriage had made it so that I no longer had confidence in myself. But then again, in our short time together, my ex-husband, Kyle, had never incited the kind of lust that was currently pulsing through my veins. Kyle had been the safe choice, the man I thought would give me the life that Jason had promised. And Kyle had tried to do just that, but our marriage was a sham and we both knew it.
"Julie?"
I came back to the present to find Neal had pressed my hand against his chest.
"Where did you fly off to again?"
"Doesn't matter," I said, intent on focusing on the present so that this moment wouldn't pass me by. "I'm back now." I tilted my head back and studied his face. In the glow of the morning light, I could see that he had a nice golden tan, that his brown hair was tinged with blonde. His eyes were not brown, but actually the kind of hazel that changed depending on the light. Right then it was a mossy green, as he stared down at me with furrowed brows. His gaze flicked down to my lips, then back up to my eyes. I held my breath and, tired of waiting, grabbed the back of his head to bring his mouth to mine. Our lips parted on impact, our tongues ebbing and flowing. He tilted his head and deepened the kiss, wrapping his arms around my back and almost lifting me off my feet. I was lightheaded when we pulled away, and I felt a trembling beginning low in my stomach. When I looked up at him, his eyebrows were drawn together, his eyes flying across my face. I hesitated, wondering if I'd read him wrong. "I thought you—" He took hold of my face and kissed me again, deeper this time, his tongue dipping deep inside my mouth to tangle with mine. He pulled away, surprise on his face.
"This isn't why I came here this morning,"
he said, brushing hair away from my cheek. I smiled up at him, my entire body still tingling. I did.